Episode 13, Weimar Germany. The Great War is over, but for Germany, peace brings only humiliation and despair. Cities lie in ruins, families mourn, and the nation is shackled by the Treaty of Versailles. Its terms are crushing, demanding reparations so vast they seem designed for perpetual punishment. Stripped of vital industrial territories, Germany's economic heart is torn out. Chaos brews, hunger and fear grip Berlin, unemployment is rampant, veterans return to shattered homes, their savings decimated by wartime inflation. The middle class watches in horror as their security evaporates. The fragile Weimar Republic inherits this maelstrom, a nation fractured, impoverished and seething with resentment. A government on the brink from its very first day. The new government, trapped and desperate, makes a fateful choice. Unable to tax a destitute populace, but required to pay war debts and reparations, they turn to the printing press. The presses at the Reichsbank roar to life, flooding the economy with paper marks. For a fleeting moment it works. Wages are paid, debts are serviced, a fragile artificial hope flickers. But this relief is a mirage. Beneath the surface, anxiety grows as a sinister arithmetic takes hold. Prices begin to creep upward, then accelerate. A cup of coffee, a tram ticket. Their cost rises not just daily, but hourly. Ordinary Germans sense something is deeply wrong. Trust in the currency, the symbol of stability, begins to fray. Prices exploded, doubling in days, then hours. Shopkeepers raced to update tags as money lost meaning. People hauled baskets of cash for a loaf of bread. The mark was worthless. Trust vanished overnight. Barter replaced money. Heirlooms, shoes, even wedding rings traded for food. Cigarettes and canned goods became currency, savings evaporated, headlines screamed panic, daily life unraveled, trauma that would haunt generations. Throughout history, when faced with crisis, governments have heard the siren's call of the printing press. It promises a painless solution, a way to conjure wealth from thin air. From the ashes of the First World War in Weimar Germany to the modern-day tragedies of Zimbabwe and Venezuela, the story begins with a tempting promise but always ends in the same place: disaster. At first it seems like a miracle. The government's coffers are refilled, towering debts are paid off with freshly printed notes. For a fleeting moment, prosperity seems to return. But this is a phantom prosperity. Every new bill that rolls off the press is a drop of poison, quietly and invisibly diluting the value of all the money already in circulation. It's a tax that no one voted for, a silent theft from every citizen's pocket and every family's savings. The value of money doesn't just fall, it evaporates. Prices don't just rise, they spiral into absurdity. In the streets of 1923 Berlin, this wasn't an abstract economic theory, it was a terrifying daily reality. A loaf of bread that cost 250 marks in January cost 200 billion marks by November. Workers would collect their wages in suitcases, rushing to the market before the price of their dinner doubled again. Life savings, painstakingly built over decades, became worthless overnight, unable to buy even a single cup of coffee. The stories from that time sound like grim fables. Children were seen playing with stacks of worthless banknotes as if they were building blocks. Photographs show citizens burning bundles of cash for fuel, as it was cheaper than buying firewood. Banknotes were even used as wallpaper. This is what happens when money loses its fundamental property as a store of value. It becomes a symbol of a government's broken promise, a monument to failed policy. As people realize their money is a melting ice cube, a collective panic sets in. The only rational response is to get rid of it, to trade the rapidly depreciating paper for anything of tangible value. This flight from currency creates a vicious feedback loop. The frantic spending pushes prices up even faster, which only reinforces the panic. Trapped by their own disastrous policy, governments see only one way out: to print even more, feeding the very fire that is consuming their society. Eventually, the illusion shatters completely. The currency is exposed as worthless paper, but the collapse runs far deeper than the economy. Trust in all institutions, the government, the banks, the rule of law itself, evaporates. The social contract, the invisible glue that holds a society together, snaps. The economic chaos breeds political extremism as desperate people search for radical solutions. The hyperinflation of the Weimar Republic is widely seen as the fertile ground from which the Nazi Party grew. A stark reminder that the consequences of monetary collapse are rarely confined to finance. For investors, this historical pattern is the ultimate warning sign. It demonstrates that any currency, a government liability, can be debased to zero. When the tremors of high inflation begin, smart capital doesn't wait for the earthquake. It flees to assets that cannot be printed into oblivion: physical gold, productive land, and other scarce commodities. Recognizing these early warning signs, understanding the history of monetary failure, is not just an academic exercise. It is the key to preserving wealth across generations. In late 1923, Germany's government unveils the Rentenmark, a new currency backed by land and industry. For a nation battered by hyperinflation, it is a bold step toward recovery. Crowds gather in city squares, anxious but hopeful. The new notes are met with skepticism, yet a sense of relief begins to spread as prices stop their wild climb. Stability returns, shopkeepers post fixed prices and families dare to save again. The nightmare of hyperinflation fades, at least for now. When hyperinflation ends, a new currency may appear and shops reopen, but the scars remain. The economic devastation carves deep, invisible wounds into the national psyche. An entire generation watched their life's work and savings evaporate into worthless paper. Trust, the very foundation of any economy, is shattered, and the trauma lingers for generations, a ghost at the table of national prosperity. In post-Weimar Germany, this pain shaped a deep skepticism toward paper money and government promises. This wasn't just an abstract theory, it was a lived reality. Families began to hoard tangible assets, gold, property, anything that couldn't be printed into oblivion. The phrase "paper is patient" took on a sinister new meaning, a reminder of the fragility of promises. Dr. Anna Keller, economic historian, explains, Germany's hyperinflation left a legacy of caution and a lasting memory of instability. It fundamentally altered the relationship between the people and the state. When a government cannot manage the value of its currency, it creates a political vacuum. This experience is central to understanding Germany's post-war economic philosophy and its fierce commitment to price stability. This lesson shaped German policy for decades, fueling the creation of the fiercely independent Bundesbank, whose primary mandate was to protect the currency above all else. In today's world, protecting wealth means thinking beyond the old 60/40th portfolio. Here's your modern macro hedge. Fast. 1. Inflation-indexed bonds, like TIPS, help guard against rising prices. 2. Gold, timeless insurance, no counterparty risk. 3. Diversify currency, hold baskets, not just one nation's money. 4. Real assets, commodities and real estate ride out inflation. 5. Tactical hedges, options and volatility products for market shocks. The bottom line, diversify, stay alert, and build a portfolio ready for anything. The Weimar hyperinflation is a stark warning from history, a reminder of economic fragility. For investors, the lesson is clear. Stay vigilant and informed. Like, share and subscribe to Finance Arcana for more insights and strategies. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes of the Hidden History of Money series.